thank you for being with me today for a virtual feast, a virtual love feast, or some might call it an agape feast. I want to start today by reading from Luke chapter 14. This is a parable about the great banquet. A certain man was preparing a great banquet and invited many guests. At the time of the banquet, he sent his servant to tell those who had been invited, "Come, for everything is ready." But they all alike began to make excuses. The first said, "I have just bought a field and I must go and see it. Please excuse me." And another said, "I have just bought 5 yoke of oxen and I'm on my way to try them out. Please excuse me." Still another said, "I just got married and I can't come." The servant came back and reported this to his master. Then the owner of the house became angry and ordered his servant, "Go out quickly into the streets and alleys of the town and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame." "Sir," the servant said, "what you ordered has been done, but there's still room." Then the master told his servant, "Go out to the roads and the country lanes and compel them to come in, so that my house will be full. I tell you, not one of those who were invited will get to taste my banquet." When we break bread together as a church in our worship, we remember that Jesus invited folks to the table as part of his ministry, not just at the Last Supper. So we wanted to create a way for all of us to break bread together with whatever we have in our homes. And indeed, what we've asked for is for you to prepare some of your favorite comfort food. And we're going to get that ready right now. I'm going to play a song. And maybe while when you get a chance, go to the comment section and jot down those things that you've prepared. You can kind of see what I prepared. And listen to this song, get your foods ready and prepare so that we can eat together.
We all start on the outside looking in. This is where grace begins. We were hungry, we were thirsty, with nothing left to give. Oh, the shape that we were in. And just when all hope seemed lost, love opened the door for us. He said, "Come to the table. Come join the sinners who have been redeemed. Take your place beside the Savior. Sit down and be set free. Come to the table." Liars and these thieves, there's no one unwelcome here. And that sin and shame that you brought with you, you can leave it at the door and let mercy draw you near. So come to the table. Come join the sinners who have been redeemed. Take your place beside the Savior. Sit down and be set free. Come to the table. Come to the table. To the thief and to the doubter, to the hero and the coward, to the prisoner and the soldier, to the young and to the older, all who hunger, all who thirst, all the last and all the first, all the paupers and the princes, all who failed, you've been forgiven, all who dream and all who suffer, all who loved and lost another, all the chained and all the free, all who follow, all who lead, anyone who's been let down, all the lost who have been found, all who've been labeled right or wrong, to everyone who hears this song, come to the table, come join the sinners, you have been redeemed, take your place beside the Savior, sit down and be set free, oh, sit down and be set free, come to the table, come to the table, sit down and be set free, come to the table.
Jesus used the parable of the great banquet in which everyone was invited in order to talk about the kingdom of God and what the family of God should look like here on earth. He said to go into the highways and the back alleys and to bring everyone in so that his house was filled. And in this way, he's encouraging us to show that his love is open to everyone, and his connection goes beyond the social norms. In the time of Jesus, and I suppose now still today, there are always people who would be considered the outcast, and no matter who those are, Jesus is saying they are welcome at my table, because he knows that all humans need connection and they need inclusion. So Jesus comforts us by saying, you have a place at this table, and he challenges us to make sure that we're doing the same for all people, and to let them know that they are welcome in our hearts, in our homes, in our churches, and even when we can't physically be together right now, we're welcome together. It's difficult in this moment not to be near some that we would like to. I've heard it often that this is the first Easter season that is going to be very troublesome for a lot of people because they won't be able to celebrate in the usual fashion, in the traditional fashion, and with the people that they normally would. And so we are taking that challenge to do it differently. And in that challenge and doing things differently, I want us to think beyond what we traditionally would do and to think about inviting the outcast, inviting others into our new norm. So in this moment, if you would, just take a moment and say out loud, if you have other people there with you, say out loud to them the people that you wish were right there with you. Just discuss it for a moment. I do have a list of people I would love to have with me. So Jesus is not physically here on earth with us, and yet every time we gather around the table, we call to mind that his Spirit is still with us. And in that same fashion, let's think about this year that even though we may be distanced from those people that we would love to have at the table, in spirit, they're still there with us in that same fashion. So I hope we can find some comfort in that. And then also, let's take a moment to think about the people that we don't know their names, but they may also need some prayers and some to be included at our table. And so in spirit, we can invite them. There are those who have lost loved ones, those who may be sick or recovering, those who are caring for people and they're probably really tired, and for those that are working in the hospitals, first responders, anyone who is out in, has to spend time in society and maybe cannot go home and be with the people they love because they don't want to carry this virus back with them. And so they're separated from the people that they love. And in that, there are people that are feeling isolated and alone. There are people who are struggling to find friends, food, and comfort. And there are many people who are just afraid. So I invite you to take a deep breath on behalf of all of those. We don't know their names, perhaps, but God knows. And God knows that even though we don't speak their name, they're in our prayers. And as we breathe in the prayers, we breathe out the Spirit, the breath of God from within us outward as a spirit of compassion and presence. Let's take a moment, take a couple of breaths, breathe in the prayers, and breathe out that compassion. God's Spirit is all around us. Jesus often had meals with people, and when we read about those meals, we always read that Jesus, before he ate, gave thanks. He prayed to the Father and gave thanks. And that's what we will do. We'll take a moment, and as you eat your food and prepare to have your beverage, let's think of the things that we would like to give thanks for. And if you would, you might want to just take a moment and tell the people around you what you're grateful for. Before we eat, let's give thanks the way Jesus did. You can take a plate or part of your food or your glass, and we're told that Jesus often lifted it and gave thanks So we'll do that. And as I pray, I will pray a line, and then you repeat that after me. Pray it aloud, and we'll give thanks for the food we're about to eat. Holy Comforter, we gather in your name, invited by Jesus, bound together with your Spirit, in union with each other. Feed our bodies and our spirits with your comforting presence, so that we might be your comfort to others. Bless this food and break open our hearts. Bless this drink and pour out your love. Amen. As you fill your plates today and your beverages, and you're getting ready to celebrate together, I might invite you to, as Jesus' last meal with his disciples, one of the ways he showed an extravagant love and servanthood was to wash the feet of his disciples. And if you have somebody in their house with you, I invite you to do that for each other. It's an amazing way to share and to be a servant to someone else. And if you don't have someone with you, maybe think of some other way that you can be a servant to someone. That might be simply a phone call where you could just pray aloud with them over the phone. And maybe it's someone that you normally wouldn't call, and show them that extravagant love. So as we stay together but separate, I pray that we'll find ways to keep connected until we can get back together again. I have been praying that through our isolation, that God would show us some amazing things and somehow form deeper bonds. It's not really in our human capacity to do it that way, but I really believe that God can do amazing things in the midst of struggles or challenges or fear, whatever we're going through. So I pray that for you. And as you go today and finish your celebrating together, I pray that you'll have peace and good health. Shalom.